Clearly, before Pearl Harbor, most Americans were strictly isolationist, no interest in foreign affairs whatsoever. But when Japan attacked, suddenly everyone felt the need to retaliate and just as much to defend their country. Overnight, isolationist feelings seemed to just disappear altogether.
The attack on Pearl Harbor was devastating for the U.S. So many people died in such a short period of time, and the nation was completely unprepared for that type of warfare. So naturally, it left very negative feelings toward Japanese Americans in this time period.
Okay, let's go. This is for Pearl Harbor. Because of Pearl Harbor, suddenly everyone thought Japanese Americans were dangerous and should be held accountable. Mostly in California, they were given 24 hours notice before being packed up and sent to live in internment camps. Ultimately, we had brought ourselves back to an era of discrimination based on race, one that had never really ended but had slightly improved over time. We ask that all military forces please retreat from the Western Hemisphere in an attempt to be a good neighbor. Peace out, losers. Seeing as interventionism was no longer logical, Roosevelt made a promise to remove troops for forces in other parts of the Western Hemisphere in an attempt to be a good neighbor. The U.S. wartime industry no longer had the resources or the reason to get involved with foreign affairs.
This is Japan now.
Hi, China! The U.S. in this case essentially chose to flat out ignore Japan's claims in China. Since this violated the open door policy, the U.S. felt it was irrelevant. The march into China was a threat to world peace, hence the reason the U.S. chose not to react at all.
World War I was a setup.
Not to make the mistake of entering World War II, there became the Nye Committee. The Nye Committee found out there was no reason for entering World War I. The public was now convinced not to join World War II for the same result of World War I.
So, the Nazi regime is taking over Europe. What are your views and how should America intervene?
America shouldn't intervene. Are you crazy? I mean, we all saw what happened in World War I, and that just went, dying, Great Depression. So, stay out.
Okay. If Hitler threatens to take over the Western Hemisphere, do you think we should intervene then, or should we make a peaceful surrender?
How dare you? How dare you even consider that Hitler would come over here? I mean, like, we're America. Nobody wants to mess with us, right?
Okay. So President Roosevelt has issued 3 acts of neutrality against the war in Europe. Do you agree with those acts, or do you believe he should be doing more?
I support him completely because we need to stay neutral and stay out of this. I mean, I know he's a little bit hesitant on this, but these acts are really going to help us prevent another war.
Okay. There are ideas that Roosevelt may be secretly helping Churchill in giving him aid. Your thoughts on that?
Bitch, you better not be.
Please put in the actual video because I'm beeping it out.
Yeah, okay, we're doing that. That's good, that's good.
To ease the public into entering the war, since the public did not want to enter the war, the Neutrality Acts helped supply the Allied powers but still not enter the war. The cash and carry basis did not allow for a full-out war.
Delivery.
For who?
For Britain.
No!
Block that country.
Some people believe that we, the U.S., became too involved in the war. So, they blocked aid to Britain. They became known as the American First Committee. Their beliefs conflicted with efforts towards the war. The 4 freedom speech was to address that the U.S. was a protector of democracy. The 4 speeches were freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom of want, and freedom from fear. A famous quote from the speech is, "As men do not live by bread alone, they do not fight by armies alone." The Atlantic Charter was a charter between U.S. President FDR and British Prime Minister Winston Churchill about a statement that the U.S. will help Britain during World War II. This meeting was held in secret in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. The charter stated not to seek territorial gains from the war, and they opposed any territorial changes made against the wishes of the people concerned. Also, the countries agreed to support the restoration of self-government to those who had lost it during the
World
war.
War II led to industrial growth that was unprecedented in U.S. society. The expansion of the economy and the mobilization of the economy in World War II led to the end of the Great Depression. In fact, during World War II, there was a point where everyone that was searching for a job had a job, so the unemployment rate was at 0%.
As the war raged on in Europe, it became evident that the U.S. would need an extremely destructive weapon to maintain order and to win the war. This led to the Manhattan Project, a group of scientists and researchers that led to the development of one of the most dangerous weapons of our time. The atomic bomb today has become synonymous with destruction and hate and fear, and all around it just has a very negative connotation. It is one of the most destructive things and most destructive weapon, I think, that is in possession.
The Wwii campaign stood for victory overseas, victory at home. It was this idea used by African Americans in World War II that if they were able to serve their country overseas, they might be able to overcome the discrimination faced back at home. Rosie the Riveter is by far one of the most iconic figures in this period. Everyone knows who she is. World War II.
Oh my God. Ma'am, I'm so sorry to inform you that your husband William has passed away in the war effort.
What do you guys think about freeing France?
I mean, France is pretty chill. I think we should let them go. They should orderly baguettes.
What does liberate mean? Free. I agree. What do you guys think? What if we divided Germany up into occupation zones?
That sounds like an
Great
awful
idea.
idea.
Screw off. Buzz off. You like jazz?
But how would we divide it?
I think east and west if we did divide it. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay.
What about Berlin?
A wall.
Germany has surrendered. How are we going to keep this going?
I think we should all agree to demand that Japan surrenders.
Yes.
Yes.
And trials of Nazis.
Tehran, Yalta, and Potsdam were meetings on the Big Three, and it shows the power that the Allied forces had in this time period. These meetings brought together the three biggest forces in the Allied powers. Stalin with Russia, Churchill with Great Britain, and FDR with America. These meetings pretty much laid the game plan for World War II, and it was when the Allied forces started cracking down and being like, we're gonna win the war, we can't let this happen anymore.
So I'm assuming you've heard about the attack in Pearl Harbor.
It's just devastating.
So now that we've had the Japanese, the Axis powers, attack American soil unprepared and unprovoked, how do you think that President Roosevelt should go on from this?
I think now we join the war effort. I think now we need to get Japan back, make them serve for their crimes. That's out.
Okay. Do you believe that this kind of mentality should be transferred to the fighting going on land in Europe, not just in the Pacific Ocean?
Yes, because I think more world powers are going to come after us and they're allied with Japan. We don't even know about it. I think we need to go after everybody in the world.
So right now, the United States is joining the Allied powers against the Axis powers, is what you're saying we should go.
Yes, and I completely support this decision.
Okay. So Hitler, right now, is America's #1 enemy?
Yes, and Japan.
Okay.